Hey y'all, it's Victoria from Lippy Lovers. Welcome to my channel and thank you so much for subscribing. Today I'm showing you a makeover I recently did on my beautiful mother. The products I'll be focusing on are suitable for all ages and skin types. I'm starting off with color correcting tinted moisturizer in medium. I highly recommend using a sponge or a beauty blender to apply so you're not transferring oil from your hands onto your skin. To prime the skin, I'm using Silk Pore and Wrinkle Filler. This is going to minimize the pores and also help to release wrinkles long term, so it really is a skincare as well as a primer. For foundation, I'm using the MAKESENSE original formula in Dewy. I'm applying it with a flat kabuki brush. I prefer the finish of this brush to a beauty blender. Because this foundation is so thick, I think a dense brush like a flat kabuki brush is really best for applying it. I really love this foundation because it has a medium to high buildable coverage with a matte finish, and it contains skincare with a kinetic enzyme in it that actually speeds up cellular renewal. Next, I'm using Candlelight as a color corrector and under eye concealer. This stuff's great because it's super waterproof. I will say though, I made this before our brand new color correcting concealers came out, and I prefer the finish of those to the ShadowSense, so I would recommend using those for color correction now that we have them as an option. To contour, I'm using BLUSHSENSE in bronze. I really love contouring the chin area. It just creates a chiseled jawline. So I'm doing that with a stippling brush and going in the cheekbones and really creating some dimension there. To create a base on the eyelids, I'm using Sandstone Pearl ShadowSense. The great thing about this, especially for women with hooded eyes and oily eyelids, is that it's not going to crease and transfer. You just have to blend it well and let it dry. I'm using a shading brush to apply it on her lids. Since my mom does have hooded eyes, I'm only going to be using one other color on her eyelids. This is Copper Rose Shimmer, and I'm applying it with a blending brush on the outside third of her eye and then into the crease, just to add some color and a little bit of shimmer. For the brows, I'm using Garnet and an angled brush to fill in and shape her brows. Brows can be tricky, so make sure you're very precise with ShadowSense because once you get it on, it's not going anywhere. And you can use a spoolie to help blend it out into the arch. For mascara, I'm using Black LASHSense. I'm obsessed with how waterproof this stuff is. It's not going anywhere, especially if you have watery eyes like me. Here I'm just applying some strip lashes really quick. These are drugstore brand. For blush, I'm using BLUSHSENSE in Terracotta. I'm applying this on the apples of her cheeks and blending out right above where I put that contour with the bronze. To give a subtle highlight, I'm using Pearlizer applied with a beauty blender on her cheekbones. Last but not least, we are applying LipSense in the shade of Napa. Always make sure your lips are clean and dry when applying LipSense. You'll notice I'm doing this in 3 layers and I'm not rubbing back and forth with my wand. That's super important with LipSense because of the unique formula. It needs to dry totally between each layer. If you don't let it dry, it will rub itself off. It gets a little bit tacky before you put the gloss on. So here we go, last layer. Let it dry and seal it in with the Shea Butter Base Gloss. This is Pearl Gloss. With the gloss, you don't have to apply it in one direction, so you can rub back and forth. And that is the end of this tutorial. Here is her before and here is her after. You can see how the contouring really helped to add some structure while the blush brought in some warmth and life to her look. Thanks for watching, y'all. If you have any questions about products, application techniques, or brushes, leave me a comment below.